Hello, friends. It's your girl, Lisa Dannielle, and you're watching Zoom After Dark. This week, Pastor Jody Moore and Lady Keniya Moore come to share some of their nuggets on balance. How do we keep it all together? It is an amazing episode. You do not want to miss it. Stay tuned. You're in for a treat. Hello, loves. It is your girl, Lisa Dannielle, and you are watching Zoom After Dark. Today, we have Pastor Jody Moore and Lady Keniya Moore, and they're going to share all of the tea about balance and keeping this thing together. Listen, they are more than qualified to do it. They are parents. They are leading a church, and rumor has it that we have somebody running for some form of political position. We'll have them talk to us a little bit about that. So we're super excited for our conversation. Without further ado, Pastor Jody and Lady Keniya. How are you today?
We're doing great. Lisa, thanks for having us on.
Thank you.
Love what you're doing. Love what you're all about. Love the favor of God that's on your life, and just excited to be a part of this. Excited to be with my partner in crime here for 21 years. This is great.
Yes. Okay. So listen, now it is customary. I tell women all the time, I don't know if y'all know, but I have written a book, Pastor Jody, and make sure that you tell me all the details for your book so people can go and pick them up as well. Yeah. I wish I would have known that you wrote a book, because then I would have gotten one so that I could have asked you questions from it. Because, you know, people write stuff, but they don't always believe what's up in there.
Right.
I would have been able to test you a little bit, but no, I definitely want people to know that you've written a book. I've written a book, and in the midst of that, I talk to a lot of single women. I would like to preface it with, it is not a book about how to get a man. Amen. The Lord birthed you to know how to do that. Glory to God. It's about getting your life together and all that good stuff. But one thing I always say is that we greet the favor first. The Bible says when a man finds a wife, he finds a good thing, and he finds favor with the Lord. So, Lady Keniya, it is so wonderful to have you on my show today, and I am super, super excited about you sharing your nuggets with those of us that are trying to be better, trying to get where you are, trying to know how to stay there when we get there. Amen. Because everybody can do something. You ain't always got staying power, though. Glory to God. Amen. Amen. So I'm super excited. I'm looking at your bio. I'm going to glaze over it. But Pastor Jody, you are a pastor. You're ordained in ministry within the California Pacific Annual Conference of the UMC in 1998. Wonderful. And Lady Keniya, you were born and raised in Los Angeles and grew up under the ministry of my bishop, Dr. Kenneth Ulmer. And we're very, very involved with Faithful Central. And my favorite, because I work with these every day, you have a degree in electrical engineering. Absolutely, absolutely wonderful. I love your testimony about how you met. Now, I don't want to read it. I want you guys to share with us how you met. Let me tell you what. Can I tell you what, though?
There are two versions, you know. They're okay. Always.
Well, it's always two. So I need the woman to go first, and then the man will come back with his understanding.
Well, usually so we do this a lot. So he'll tell the story, but then I'll just interject where he's a little bit off.
Okay.
So in other words, I'm always off when I'm telling the story.
He embellishes.
Okay. So when I got back from Texas Southern, where I did my undergrad, I came home, and there was this talk about this church that was just exploding, and people were like wrapped around the corner, like there were lines down the street and all that sort of stuff. And they kept talking about this man by the name of Bishop Kenneth Ulmer and just Faithful Central. Faithful Central, at that time, it was Faithful Central Missionary Baptist Church. And so I kept hearing about Faithful Central, and I got a tape, and notice the operative word is tape, not a CD.
Right.
I got a cassette tape.
You're telling our age.
Absolutely. It was when Bishop, one weekend, he split the church up. So he preached to the men, I believe it was that Friday night, and then he gathered all the women that Saturday and preached to the women. And then, of course, Sunday was the regular service. Right. I obtained the tape of a bishop preaching to the men. And so I had been listening to this tape. Now, one particular weekend, I went to Atlanta for a ministry conference, flew back in with my buddy who ended up being the best man in our wedding. His name is Pastor Garth Gilliam. And so we went to Atlanta together to go to a conference, came back. He lives way out in San Fernando Valley.
Oh, wow.
I said, man, look, we've been on this trip, on this plane for 4 or 5 hours from Atlanta. You want to take the drive home, or let's go check out this new spot in Ladera. And that was when the new Magic Johnson Starbucks had, I think it had only been open maybe 2 or 3 months. Oh, and wow. Lisa, that was where, I'm gonna be real with it, that was where all the church honeys, I mean, so you got
listen, because you couldn't go to the club, you had to go to Starbucks.
Yeah, it wasn't even City of Refuges that was great. Faithful, right. Greater Bethany, and West A. And that's where they converged. It was like a watering hole, for the fine, saved folks. So right. I said, man, we got to go and we got to check this place out. Right. Let's go.
My blessing might be there.
We're in there sipping coffee. It's October. It's in the fall, and I'm telling him about this preacher that I'm like, I had never heard preaching like this. I mean, this was crazy. This was crazy. So I'm a clown. And so I'm telling him what Bishop was saying. Yeah. But then I kind of started saying it the way he says it. And you know how Bishop gets when he gets excited. He starts talking about, you got it. Oh, you don't have it. You got it. Right. So I start mimicking him and start cracking up and having fun and pretty much clowning Bishop.
Right.
Little did I know that the woman sitting at the table next to me was Bishop's daughter, until she said, the man that you guys are making fun of just happens to be my daddy. And that's how we... and
it was love.
Oh, snap, so we kick up a conversation.
Yes.
And, I'm at that time, I'll be honest, a little shallow, a little full of myself. I'm trying to catch. So I was driving a Lexus at the time. It was a used Lexus, but it was a Lexus. So, I kind of threw my Lexus keys on the table. I want to have some visibility to it.
I'm looking at your face. I don't care. I don't even care about that. Right.
So, I'm like, Ann.
So I say, if I gave you my number, would you call me? And she said, no, but I can give you mine. And in other words, balls in your court, right? And so I got the number, and of course there's a guy rule that you don't call the sister right away. You got to let there be a
you do if you want her.
So
listen, that'll preach right there. You understand me?
So
closed mouths don't get fed.
You wait about 3 or 4 days. So my plan was to let her hang out there a little bit, but I couldn't get her off my mind. I called her that next day, and it was it from there on. So,
and mind you, I told when I left there, I said, now if he waits and he plays that game, he can hang it up. It's over.
Right.
So if he had gone with that plan, we would not be here today.
See how the Holy Spirit works?
Is that obedience? No, I was just going crazy. You were all up in my head, and so I was just kind of,
Because y'all met in October of '98, but y'all got married in September of '99.
9 months.
So you knew, you knew. When you saw her, you were like, oh, that's Mrs. Moore right there.
We were, by December, we knew.
Wow.
So even though, I was 24 when we met.
Okay.
But so it sounds young. I guess it is young. But in my mind, I was ready to be married. I was not playing games. I was serious. Right. I had a checklist. I literally had a checklist. So we had a few fun dates. And then by date 4, it was okay, now interrogation time. So I need to know, is you or is you ain't
My baby.
Can I submit? I'm trying to do this
Yeah.
away, and that whole submit, yada, yada, yada. I need to know if I can actually do that thing.
Absolutely.
And Lisa, that's crucial. That's crucial. I don't know if you caught what she said.
Yeah, I heard exactly what she said.
We had marathon date days where it was, I need to get to know you because I need to see if I can. So the Bible tells me to submit, and I'm trying to do what this Bible says. But I need to know, are you someone that I could submit to?
Yes. Are you worthy of submission? Absolutely.
There it is. And so many times, marriages, what happens, I counsel a lot of couples, people find, the sisters find out later on while they're in the marriage that this is not someone that they can submit to. And that's where the struggle comes in. But
Absolutely.
That was very important for her. She needs to know, can I submit to this man?
Absolutely. Well, listen, I'm going to dive into our questions because I have so much. And and then I'm going to say one of the comments that we just got. But I love what you said about that. And when I was thinking about it and you were talking about, I wanted to make sure that he was worthy of submission. So often we skip over that assessment. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because the truth of the matter is it's just as dangerous to submit to someone who's not ready for someone to submit to them as it is for you to submit to the wrong person, right? Because that's like giving a toddler a gun. Like, we would not do it, right? And my entire life is in your hands and you're not ready for it, right? I'm not going upstairs and telling my 16-year-old daughter, what are we going to do about our bills next week? Can what should we eat for dinner, right? Because for her, it would be potato chips and chocolate bars, and that's nourishing, right? I have to be able to submit to you. I have to be able to make a fair assessment of where you are, not just in life, but in God. And that brings me to my first question. You are married. You are already in ministry when you meet your wife, right? Yeah. Already in ministry. How important is being able to make the assessment of whether or not she complements your purpose, and not just she complements your purpose, but that he complemented your purpose?
Wow, that's a great question. And it really it starts and ends with dialogue. Getting to understand the other person's passions, what they desire. What I need to know, what was she seeking for herself by way of her relationship with God. And it was also a little bit easy too, because she grew up, and she can talk about this. She grew up watching her dad. I'll be very honest with you. This is why I say, Keniya, and I've said this, she's not perfect, but she's perfect for me. God fashioned her, because I'm not sure who else could really put up with all the stuff that I have going on ministry-wise. I spend a lot of time in the air, spend a lot of time on the road, not just for ministry, but I'm bivocational, so I'm a human resources executive. And so I'm on the road quite a bit. And so people would ask, how do you deal with the fact that your husband's always gone? He's in Africa, he's doing this. And it's like, she had just gotten so used to it by watching her dad and knowing how to navigate through that space. And so I think that created, it made it easier for me. Yeah. But also too, here's the other thing, Lisa, and I gotta give due credit to my wife. She from day one, she does not play when it comes to trying to live a biblical life, not just knowing the word, but being a doer of the word. And so because she endeavored and strived to live a biblical life, she understood. She was very open to how God would breathe on the relationship, and she was very open to what God may be trying to do in my life. And she wanted to be a part of whatever God was doing in my life. She wanted to be a part of, and that's important. and vice versa. Whatever God is doing in her life, I want to be a part of it. I want to be a part of his grand plan for her life. And she wanted to be a part of whatever God's grand plan was for my life.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that is so crucial. And it is funny that you say that she was a doer of the word. Lady Keniya, I commend you. One thing I will absolutely admit is that I'm a fourth generation preacher's kid, right? So, 4 generations, 9 uncles that are all pastors or preachers. It is my entire family, right? That's just what it is. And one thing I will say is that the pressure that comes upon the kids, it is so hard, but it's even harder when they see a different person at church than they see at home. Yes. You know what I mean? So at home, you raising sand and everybody's hiding from you. But when you're at church, it's, Lord, I lift your name on high. Yeah. Not being able to see that example at home. How did you get to the place where you just knew, you know what, this is important? Being the same person in both environments is important, not just for me, for my children. And tell me how you made that just conscious decision for your family.
So, I mean, I guess the fact that I saw it, and I know everyone has different stories, but I was blessed enough to be able to see it, with my father. Yeah. So he truly is the same person at home. Yeah. As he is on Sunday. Mm-hmm. And so having that as the backdrop, that kind of set the tone for where we would go, and just how we would, conduct our home. Excuse me. So yeah, I think that's basically it.
Well, listen, I am over the moon about that. I think because that is something that is in short supply in our current time, especially as the younger and younger people in ministry begin to emerge, the variations of ministry that begin to emerge, putting a priority on family has become a back burner endeavor. They're not really putting family first. So tell me what you do in a situation where you say you're bivocational, you have a million things that you have to do for work. You also have a million things and people to watch over for, at church. And you also have children. Yeah. And you also have a wife. Yeah. How are you prioritizing? How do you two prioritize what's most important in this moment? How are you?
It's not always easy. It's funny because the topic is balance, and when I thought about the topic, I thought about the whole idea of balancing and rotating your tires. And so they say that you need to balance your tires about every 7,000 miles, which means that you got to put that tire up on the rotator and do that work, pressure test it with weights, and see if it's in balance or out of balance. And so I think the key thing for us is to be very intentional, to take pauses in our life, to go away, to keep the dialogue open, to be very open for feedback. If one is not feeling like, hey, we're looking like roommates right through here, and let's be real transparent. That happens, but the key is it has to be safe for one of us to say it to the other that I'm feeling this way. I'm not feeling connected right through here. Yeah. And being able to hear that and not be offended with, well, I'm doing this or I'm doing that. No. If you're not feeling connected in that moment, then the onus is on me to see where maybe I'm not doing what I need to do to connect. But being able to make it safe to have that level of dialogue. Right. As it pertains to priorities, I mean, it's a lot. So to your point, I'm senior director of a Fortune 6 healthcare company. I pastor a church here in the city. I'm the vice chairman of the city planning commission. And I could just go on and on and on. But it starts with the vertical relationship. So it would be easy for me to say, well, my wife is my priority. My children, that's my priority. But it really, if I don't keep God first and foremost, and so listen, and I've said this from the pulpit, and when I've said it's a little off-putting for the first 10 seconds.
I'm ready.
It really is. It takes people aback.
Okay.
But after about 10 seconds, it's like, okay, I get it. And here's what I've said before, and I'll say it here.
Okay.
I can't focus on all my focus on pleasing my wife and pleasing my children. I can't. Pleasing my family. I can't. I have to put my main focus on pleasing God. I have to live for the audience of one. And as I live for the audience of one, they experience the overflow of that. So it is the picture of me being, see, and here's the thing, if I'm trying to play to all these different audiences, well, this audience wants this one minute, my wife, the audience wants this one another minute, the children want this, the church wants this, the city wants this, the job. So I'm playing for 15 different audiences, all of whom are fickle, will change up in a nanosecond. So here's the deal. I can only play for one audience.
Yes.
I can only play for one audience, and that is God. I can only play for him. And my wife then enjoys the overflow of me focusing this way. So it's a vertical focus. My wife, my children, whoever's in my space, they are able to enjoy the overflow. If I'm playing to all of these different audiences, somebody is going to lose out. So I've just chosen not to play.
Uh-oh. Looks like we are frozen. We will wait.
Play for none of them. I'm gonna play for them, and then
and we've talked about this. There are some seasons of imbalance. One that I can think of is when you have babies and small children in the house. That's by definition a season of imbalance, especially depending on if you're nursing the babies, if one is working or staying at home. We've had seasons of just known imbalance, and we know that this is just what it is for now, and we know that it's not going to stay like this. There's been recently we've had another season of imbalance where something in the family just consumed, literally one of us is being pulled in one direction, the other is being pulled in the other direction. And at the end of the day, literally, there's nothing left. I mean, and like come 8, 9 o'clock, don't talk to me. I'm sorry. I have nothing, I have nothing. I have nothing. So we know that that's a season that's going to come to an end. And so, kind of navigating through that and just keeping the dialogue and the conversation open is one way to get through it.
And I want to stop you guys there, because you guys said something like that really stood out to me. And so for me, it's not off-putting. And let me tell you why. Because you didn't say that you needed the church to be your audience. You were very deliberate about prioritizing God. And as a result of that, your church, your family, that they all live in the overflow. So often we hear of resentful wives that, because let's just be honest, as people of God, we have a tendency to believe that church is God, right? And we will make church God, right? But the truth of the matter is that church is what we do because of God. But God should be gauging us. And in his word, he says, my yoke is easy. If I'm feeling overwhelmed, that means I have something that's out of alignment. I'm not checking in with God. I'm not prioritizing. So I'm not put off by that. I'm not put off by that at all. But I do love what Lady Keniya said, and that is that you have to be able to just accept that there will be seasons where there may be an imbalance.
Yeah.
And we won't know when it's going to come to an end. We just know that, hey, it is going to come to an end. So I absolutely love that.
And Lisa, let me share this two quick things. Mm-hmm. Going back to the whole idea of the church, unfortunately, most pastors find their identity in the church, and that's something, by the grace of God, we, first of all, another thing about us, we don't take ourselves all that seriously. We take what God has called us to do seriously, but we don't take ourselves that seriously. And you talked about my book, my first book, God's Will Greater Than Your Plan. It talks about understanding your identity, what your identity being rooted in Christ. And so you have a vocational identity, but then you have your identity that is rooted in Jesus Christ. Yep. And so because my identity declares that I am an adopted son of God, yep. Me being pastor, bishop designate, whatever I am, that is my secondary vocational identity. Mm-hmm. So Transformation Church, they can take they can kick me out and take my name off the marquee tomorrow. That does not affect the fact that I am right. The adopted son of God. So we've been really clear to keep that straight. And the other thing, she brought up balance too. It's important, and I think this is where husbands come in to set the tone in the house. I've got to make it a safe place for her to say, I'm out. It's out of balance. Yeah. I don't have it right now. Mm-hmm. Something else we do for each other. We give each other the needed space. And so for years now, I go away at least once a year by myself. I've got a couple of spots I go to journal, to decompress, and to get away. She just did hers 2 weeks ago. She hung out, got her spot in Newport all by herself. Mm-hmm. And so
Amen. Amen.
Yeah, but here's the thing too. And again, I hope you guys don't mind me bragging on my wife, because she is probably one of the most secure one. It's because she's secure that we're able to do this. Absolutely. She has never tripped. When I go away for my couple of days to Pismo, to journal.
They said, please brag.
To eat. And, I didn't trip off with her when she goes off to Newport to hang out high at Newport or wherever she's going. I mean, I do kind of scope out to make sure that, the bartenders and the bus boys aren't all too handsome or anything like that. But
you can go anywhere where there are no muscles.
I do a pre-trip. I do an advanced
drive by. That's all.
What the seat is.
Yeah. But I think that is so good, and I want to talk about that. I want to dive into that a little bit more, because I think sometimes we forget that. I know for me personally, I can speak for me personally. I think sometimes I see that people think that the minute you're in a relationship, all of a sudden you're supposed to be, wearing matching t-shirts and you don't ever want to not be together. You don't ever want your own space anymore. For me personally, I've always been very, very, I am the most deceptive extrovert known to man. Because I'm here. When I'm out, I'm here like this, right? But I love being in my house because I travel a lot. So I like being in my house. Yeah. I like my zen. But every now and then, I need Lisa time, mm-hmm. right? Or Lisa's no good to anybody. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times they think the minute you get a wedding ring on your finger, you no longer have that need anymore. So when did you, in the stride of being married, realize, this is going to be okay. Like, she can totally go away and she's going to come back and everybody's going to be fine. You know what I mean? We have an understanding that protects our union, right? So we don't have to be worried.
Yeah.
So it's okay for you to need you time? When did you get to that place in your marriage?
Wow. So I probably
It was early.
like very early on, like maybe year 5 or
Because
something like that.
I'm an extreme introvert.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
the most polarized introvert you could have.
Yeah.
Like, I have to be alone.
Yeah.
I have to have my time, my space and my
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
And so, you know, we first got married, and it's kind of, you know, the first couple of weeks is looking at each other like, okay, so what are we supposed to do?
Right.
And okay, so am I supposed to be in the room with you like all evening?
Right.
Or can
Yeah.
I go in the other room?
Can I watch TV on my
Oh,
own?
it was, you know what?
Yeah.
It was awkward. It's like, can I watch my show? Because she was in the ER and Felicity, and I got my shows. I'm like, are we supposed to watch the same shows now? I mean, what does this one? I mean, the bishop declared us as one. What does this oneness look like? Does oneness mean I gotta like Felicity and she gotta like MASH and I Love Lucy because that's what I watch? And so,
I can work with Lucy. And MASH though, I don't know.
No, okay. When he started watching MASH, I was like, buddy, I gotta go in the other room. You're on your own.
You need another TV, is what we
watches MASH. Who? I would say
I have a whole family full of MASH.
What's not the person watches MASH?
Look, we're gonna have a lot of people in the comments. We got people that watch MASH.
But
I'm good with MASH. Good times, I can't do good times. You know.
But I'd forgotten about how awkward it was almost the first, because to your point, what are we, I mean, do we?
You don't even know what to do when you first get in there, right?
Yeah, and is there something wrong? Even now, I see couples, I know couples in my church, especially young couples.
Yeah.
They gotta go to Target together. They go.
Well, the first time we went to the mall, it was real soon that he realized, okay, this is just not going to work. You're on your own when it comes to the mall. And I don't want to be rushed and I don't want to be pressured. Let me take my day at the mall. So,
right. Yeah. And I might not buy anything, but if I stay all day, I felt like staying.
Right.
So there's got to be a high level of trust there.
Absolutely.
There is trust that I just trust her. I trust her. And so there's never, there was never a moment of hesitation when she says she needs to get away. When she says that she'll say I need a day away, which means that she's trying to leave here. So we live in Chino Hills, and so she's trying to go to Westwood. She's trying to get out of here and be away for the day. It's okay.
Well, it's essential because I don't ask for a lot at all.
That's right.
Like I mean, probably to a fault, I don't maybe take enough me time. Mm-hmm. I don't ask for enough. Yep. When I get to the point where I say I have to leave, that means if I don't, I'm going to hurt somebody.
I understand.
You to let me go.
I understand. He's like, so when would you like to come back?
How much you need?
How about that? Yeah, let me get hold on, get my wallet. Hold on one second. So listen, I want to ask you a couple of questions. One says, how do you deal with competing priorities?
So like when you say, what do you mean by competing priorities? You mean when the family is competing with my...
Well, let me clarify, because I think when the question was asked, we were talking about prioritizing church and family and all that. What do you do when it seems like both, it could be children and wife need your time, or church and priorities shift. Yeah. So how do you do that? How do you deal with, there's only one Lady Keniya and there are 15 people that need her?
Yeah. Wow. So you know what? I'm gonna use a medical term. You almost gotta triage it. It's almost like what's urgent right now? What's urgent?
Right.
What's an emergency?
Who's bleeding? Right.
Yeah, what can wait? Who just wants to connect just for the sake of connecting, or who is, to your point, who's bleeding, who's laying on the side of the road, and making those decisions that way, and also surrounding yourself with a good team and being able to say, you know what, I'm going to have elder so-and-so call this person. I need so-and-so to do this because, we got something else going on. We got to go to open house for the kids. I've got to go to a dance competition. I got to go watch my daughter's cheer. The cool thing about Transformation Church, what I love about our church, and this is important for any couple that's in ministry. The church loves us as a couple, as an institution. So they're very protective of us. And so when we say we on vacation, or when I tell my assistant we shutting it down for a couple of days, we just celebrated 21 years and we went and hung out in Laguna this past weekend. People honor that and respect. The only people that don't respect that or honor that are our children, but that's okay. That's the only crowd that just seems to not want to honor. I mean, it's 10 o'clock at night. We trying to be romantic. We out by the fire pit. We playing footsies, and all of a sudden, my middle daughter, the FaceTime. I mean, it's like, yeah. I'm like, are you really?
And it's something like, where's our remote?
You not see what we try. So yeah. I don't know if you want to add to that.
No, I think you pretty much covered it.
Yeah, it's knowing how to protect yourself, but it's also having people around you who love you, love the idea of you, and they're willing to protect you also.
Well, and I love that, because what I hear just as an ongoing theme in a lot of your answers is how important your presence is in the place you're in, the space you're in. When you're with your wife, and you've put down everything else and she just has your time. When you're tending to your children, you're at open house. I am a father. I am a mother now, and I'm tending to my children. When I'm at church, I am leader and shepherd. I am first lady, and we're tending to our church. But I think a lot of times what we do in an effort to multitask, we have a tendency to think our body being in the place means we are present.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And how do we make sure? How do we, I think I know the answer to this, because I think you said it already, which is that freedom to communicate and say, you know what, you're here, but it doesn't feel like you're here. So how do I open up that dialogue and say, you know what, everything we've been doing lately, we went down to Newport Beach with Dr. So-and-so and we had a little dinner, but the whole time y'all were talking about things he was going through with his wife that didn't feel like a dinner date to me, right? That felt like counseling.
Yeah.
How do we have that? And how do we cut that line and say, you know what, this is time for us, and we have to take it.
I think we've just kind of learned how to do it. One thing that I've told him is that, you're not going to get quality time from me in this house. I'm all over the place. My mind is everywhere. I'm taking care of everybody in this house.
I'm somebody's mama. Mm-hmm.
Right. And so I said, if we're going to have quality time, you have to get me away from here. And so we set the time aside. You have to put it in the calendar, and then you have to leave, and then, turn your phone off, put it on Do Not Disturb for a minute. And then we just have to engage. And, and so when the daughter called, I said, don't answer the phone. Just don't answer it.
But
I mean, a missed call is okay. It's okay.
And then likewise, with any of, if you're with the kids or something like that, if it's something where they need, the attention, it's important that they feel that they aren't competing with the church, or they aren't competing with all the other ministries and things that are going on. And so, we have a daughter who was in competitive dance for a long time. If we're at a dance competition, we're watching her, that's the priority right now. And so that's what we're doing. And then just kind of drawing lines and then staying within those lines and those boundaries.
And let me add that that's crucial. Let me also add too, first of all, I'll never forget when I shared, I can't remember, we were in a forum like this before several years ago, and we shared that we put our stuff on calendar, and people are like, you calendar? Well, you know, at the end of the day,
if you're busy,
we're I'm not trying to say this to be, you know, to boastful at all, but you know, we're high capacity individuals. We've got a lot going on. I mean, if I'm not talking about she's got a lot going, you know, going on. She's not only a mother, she's not only a wife. She helps to run a engineering consulting firm. So I mean, there's a lot that's going on, and so we put it on the calendar. Yeah. But here's the other thing that we do also. It's important to establish a cadence of, I don't want to use the word routines or patterns, but they're routines or in patterns. And here's what I mean by that. It's Sunday evenings, especially, you know, Anthony Bourdain, you know, we have our certain seasons of shows. Mm-hmm. We know that on Sunday evenings, around 6 o'clock, Anthony Bourdain is coming on. Our tradition, our pattern, our cadence was to have coffee and dessert, sit on the couch, watch Anthony Bourdain. What's the other guy with the funny hair, the weird hair that you like, that we like?
The CNN guy.
Yeah, the CNN guy. What's the name? I always talk about his hair.
Yeah.
He's got the strange, anyway, the strange guy. But we've got our shows. Now right. This Sunday,
is a whole new season.
All life in this house changes because it's football season. And so talk about finding a wife who knew how to submit to her husband. Over the last 21 years, she has become a football fan, 49er fan. And so she, did
it show? I'm sorry, go ahead.
So, Sunday evening, we are together. It's not just me, we are together on the couch watching football.
And I actually understand the games now.
And you don't ask questions, right? You just sit there. I get now you got it, right?
Know who's who.
Absolutely.
So it's planning the big stuff, but knowing how to have a cadence around the small stuff. Sunday evening, that belongs to us. Sunday evening, you know, if it's just for an hour and a half, Sunday evening, coffee, cookies, dessert. That's Anthony Bourdain. The guy with the crazy hair, that show, and our Sunday shows, that's our time together.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I love that. And I do think I hear younger people complain about that. I don't want to be put on no calendar. I don't want you penciling me in, you know. I want to address, because we have a lot of married people. We have a lot of people that are unmarried as well. And one thing I will say is that, when you have things on your schedule, being put in a schedule should be looked at as a benefit, not a liability. You are being intentional. Someone actually said being intentional. Right. You are being intentional about cultivating something with me. And unfortunately, for me personally, and my family will tell you this, if it does not go on my calendar, it is not real. It's not happening. Because I don't remember. I won't remember. I will try. I'll want to. But it is so refreshing to hear that you have the liberty to say, you know what, on Saturday, I'm needing you to make sure you shut down at 4 o'clock because I need your time from 4 to 8 p.m. And I want to make sure that in order for us to feel like us, we're being intentional about taking that time, which I think is so beautiful. I'm wanting to know how you deal with transitions. Let's say you've gotten into your rhythm and you have these particular things that you do, and something flies into your life that disrupts all of that, and there's no end in sight. How do you deal with the transition?
Junk food.
Oreos.
She said junk food, and I was about to say legally addictive stimulants, such as what I mean.
I'm talking about Viola Cup.
I'm addicted to legal stimulants here. It has gotten us to this or something else. I choose.
Yes.
I choose.
Right.
Right. let me go first on this one, dear. I mean,
Yeah, because that was actually my answer.
yeah,
I mean, junk food.
It.
And I like it.
Well, we've been experiencing this for the last couple of years.
Yeah.
We've been in as a family, we've been in a rough season last couple of years.
Yeah.
Our just with our children, our teenage daughter.
Yeah.
And so it what.
Oh, and then right before that, I was in a car accident. So we've kind of had like a back to back to back to back.
Yeah. Isn't it crazy how it happens like that, though?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I hear you.
She was had to be taken to the trauma
Oh,
center.
wow.
It was a major car split. And then, just trials with a teenage daughter,
Yeah.
turmoil in our house.
Yeah.
You have, it's easy for me to say you have to know how to pivot, because you have to know how to pivot.
Yeah.
But at some point in time, it is what it is. This is not going away.
Right.
It's not changing.
Yep.
We are going to, we're going to have to pray and ask for an added measure of grace from God.
Yeah.
We're going to have to extend an added measure of grace to each other, but we might have to hyper focus. And here it is, knowing full well that some things may be lost or put on the back burner while we hyper focus on these issues. And we saw it again with our own children, as we had to focus on one particular child. We knew that possibly our other children may have not gotten all the attention that may have been needed. And we have to, are we okay with it? No, but again, it is what it is. And
so that was one of those seasons where we were talking earlier about seasons of imbalance. That was one of those seasons of imbalance where things are just all jacked up and all over the place. And, just it's out of order. It's out of whack. To kind of navigate through it.
And the biggest one of the biggest residual effects when so much is out of balance like that. And when I say out of balance, when I say that we've gone through
a lot
hell the last couple of years, it's been crazy. But it drains you. You got to think that the word shalom, the word peace, it's that word we often think of peace as nice. No, the word shalom, it means order. It means order. It means being at rest. And when things are out of order and when there's disruption in the house, it will zap you of energy. It creates fatigue in you. I have, I'm still tired from coming out of some of the stuff that we've had to come out of.
Absolutely.
The last couple of years. So you got to pivot. You got to pray.
What do you do? And I will. What I would like to say is, it is absolutely. I think warranted. I see it all the time, especially as a parent of multiple children. When there are seasons where certain children need more attention than the other, you always have that inner, especially as a mom, you have that inner guilt, like, I'm supposed to be able to balance all of this, and I'm not feeling like I have the capacity, right, to do all of this at the same time. Thank God that He gives us the grace for the season. But then when you are running in parallel, right, you're still who you are. You still have the requirements upon you that you have. Life is not slowing down for you just because you have things going on in your house. And so absolutely, fatigue is the order of the day. How do you get through those seasons without becoming enemies of each other? because I can say this. I have an older sister, and my older sister is, I like to consider her the matriarch of our family. And she's got 2 kids and a husband and requirements and all of these different things. And I watch them. I watch how he has a style with his kids and how she has a style with their kids. And it's funny how it ends up being complementary. But I always thought they're always going to agree. They're always going to agree on decisions made, or how do you get to that judge where you may not always agree with the approach or with what's said or with what's done, but you come to a meeting place without becoming enemies of each other, because that has been probably one of the biggest things that stood out for me in marital relationships with people that have multiple children that are up in age, not small children, but up in age, because then they're starting to face things that adults face.
Right.
How do you not become enemies of each other in the midst of going through that?
Probably, this is my opinion. I think probably the onus is on me for that as the wife. So there were, in the middle of all of this stuff that we were dealing with, there were several things that we did not agree on. Okay. We just did not see things the same way at all. Yeah. And it was just, frustrating, and, you get angry, and, moments of just sadness, like this is not working or whatever. And this is not the popular answer, but this is the only one I know. It goes back to the very beginning of the conversation about, what I was looking for when I got married in the first place. Of ultimately, there's a godly order in the marriage,
right?
And the wife is to submit to the husband,
right?
I know we just love that word. I know, I get it, but at the end of the day,
done right.
Well, and so the reason why I married him was because ultimately this was someone that I chose and comfortable with submitting to. So in those seasons, or in those, times where we just do not agree, then I have to submit to what he says.
Yeah.
And if I don't agree with it, and so I can't become his enemy, because I'm the one who chose to be here in the first place.
That's right. That's right.
It's not easy at all, but.
Oh, I know it isn't, because I mean, you're introverted, but you don't seem timid.
I know what I know.
You got an opinion. But you know what? But and for the record, I will say this. You said, I know it's not the popular answer, but the truth of the matter is the truth should be the popular answer. And so it was absolutely the popular answer for me. Thank you so much for your transparency and just for sharing that, because I know how challenging that can be. Yes, exactly. Someone said that's the mature answer. Absolutely. So I want to ask you this question, and then we're rounding out, and I want to make sure that we open up. If you guys have some questions for Pastor Jody and Lady Keniya, please feel free to type them in the chat box right now. One of the things that I absolutely loved about what you said was, I have to sometimes acquiesce when I may not want to. You know what I mean? I have to just trust that my decision all those years ago to submit to him is going to protect me, right? And when it's all said and done, if you do it the way God said do it, even if God's got to get him by himself.
He does.
Yeah, he will bring him back to you and go, you know what? I kind of jacked that up a little bit. Let me tell you what happened.
No, that's exact. No, and I wanted her answer to stand alone, because it was, I mean, I'm over here convicted. I'm like, wow, you really have trusted me these 20 years.
Right.
I'm over here like,
oh, that was me. Right.
Yeah, I gotta want this, the bomb, but
right.
There have been times, and this is where, so to your point, you just said it, if it's done the God's way in his order. So she has submitted, biting her bottom lip and probably grinding her teeth as she had to do it. but she knows how to bend her knees and she'll sit him on me. What she would. So that's why what it says in Peter is crucial.
Mm-hmm.
It said when Peter talks about the wife being able to win him over without a word. The idea of no, she knows how to tell God about me.
Mm-hmm.
The order is what? That the husband is the head of the wife.
Mm-hmm.
Christ is the head of the husband.
Mm-hmm.
In corporate America, so I told you that I'm in human resources. I've been in human
Mm-hmm.
resources 25 years. In organizations, you have what's called skip levels. So you have your direct supervisor,
Mm-hmm.
but you have an open door to where you can go to your boss's boss
Mm-hmm.
and talk to your boss's boss.
Right.
Well, that's the way it is. So I'm her head, but Christ is my head. Mm-hmm. She knows how to operate she uses her skip level option,
Absolutely.
bypasses me, goes and talks to him. He then comes and self-corrects me. I cannot tell you. I'm serious.
That's good. That's good right there.
How many times I have had to come back and say, you know what?
That's the new transformation T-shirt.
I was in prayer time in my, I'm up. So my morning regimen is 4:30 in the morning. I'm on my knees about 5:15. I can't tell you. I mean, and let her. How many times I've gone to her and say, you know what, I was in my prayer time, or, and the Lord said to not, and I'll come back to her and agree with where what she wanted in the first place. But I may not have gotten there if she had not submitted, did a skip level, talked to him. But it only works if he is in alignment with his head. You see what I'm saying? It only works if he's out of alignment.
Yep.
Then she trying to talk to him, but he ain't even under the.
Because he ain't listening, right?
Right.
So it works. It works if Christ is his head. If he is operating in headship to her, to the wife, and when we are at loggerheads, she submits, but then she goes and does a skip level move and talks to my boss, and 99.9% of the time,
help me, Jesus. That's good stuff. Listen, that is good. That is good for those of us that are like a bull in a china cabinet when we get an idea in our head. That is a blessing from the Lord, and we're gonna ask the Lord that His impartation would begin now.
And Lisa, let me pause one last thing on this too.
Yeah.
And again, so whatever success, and I'm not saying this to be extra.
Yeah.
The success of our marriage, 21 years. I'm gonna first give honor and glory to God for it, but it really is because of Keniya. Keniya, and this is from day one. Anyone that knows Keniya, Keniya is allergic to drama. She's allergic to it. She does. I mean, so she has created a house of peace. Of peace. And so when we had to go through what we've had to go through for the last couple of years with our daughter, our children, that's another reason that it was crazy, because she is just the antithesis to drama. And so I think that has made it easy. That's why it has worked for us, because she just refuses to allow drama in the marriage. She refuses. I can honestly say this, and tell me if the number is off. This year, we may have had, I think, 2 arguments, if that, in our marriage of 21 years. I cannot say, I don't think we've had more than 10, what we would call just knock down, drag out arguments.
We haven't had more than 10.
I don't think we've had more than 10 in 21 years, and it doesn't, and I'm not saying that we don't disagree. I'm not, trust me, we're not robots.
Right.
Her being allergic to drama and mess, has just allowed us to just defuse quickly.
Yeah.
21 years, I don't think we've had more than 10 major arguments.
Wow. Wow. Well, listen, that is a blessing. And I want to make sure that I'm respectful of your time. It is 10:08. Can we have like 5 more minutes?
Absolutely. No, we're here for you. Yeah.
We're West Coast.
Yeah, we're West Coast. Yeah.
Right.
I've had my legal stimulant. I've had my legal stimulant.
Look, I don't want y'all to get me in trouble with Shayna. You'd be like,
no, please.
Okay, you said it out. I don't want to get in trouble. No, this is so good. And we have, marriages in all generations on with us. So we have people that have been married for 30 years. We have people that have been married for 5 years. We've been, people that have been married for 10 years. And everyone's lenses are different in different decades. What encouragement can you give someone who's just starting out versus someone who's hit the 10-year mark? And they're saying, I'm trying to figure this whole thing out. You know what I mean? What encouragement can you give them?
Let me go first, dear. And
yeah, because it's in line with
okay.
one of your upcoming books that you want to work on.
The advice I'm going to give is not even my own advice. It is the advice that my father-in-law gave us. I'll never forget. Bishop and Lady T took us out to lunch. I think it was maybe about 2 months before we were married. And he said,
we got you. Hold on 1 second. We're going to ask the question.
Said, is that Deb Gates?
Yeah. Yes.
He said,
You're next.
He said, I'll never forget it because this has been how we rolled for 21 years.
Yeah.
He said, give each other the benefit of the doubt more. And basically what he said is that, look, you're gonna have disagreements, but you give each other the benefit of the doubt that she didn't wake up with intentions to hurt me. Now, that doesn't mean I'm not gonna get hurt. That doesn't mean that 21 years, it does not mean that I have not hurt this woman in 21 years.
Right.
You hearing me?
Absolutely.
But the benefit of the doubt is, I know his heart is not to hurt me. His intention is, I didn't wake up deciding how I'm gonna tick her off today, or how I'm gonna urinate in her cornflakes today. That's not how. I didn't want to say the other word. Yeah, but that
I got you.
That's not how we roll. And so even if I'm hurt, even if she's hurt, we give each other the benefit of the doubt that I may be hurt, but I know doggone well she's not trying to hurt me. Don't mean I'm not hurt, but I know the motive was not there to hurt me. And so that's what's helped. Dear, what do you want to?
I was just thinking of, there's a book that he is like in him that he hasn't written yet, tailored to first year marriage. So you give the Will Smith analogy.
So okay, so I'm working on my.
And hurry up and write the book.
I'm working on my third book, and when I do premarital counseling with couples, usually the third session is all around expectations, and that is, oh my God, that is where the breakdown is. I've heard some crazy stuff. I mean, because what do you expect from each other? I mean, I had, one dude said he expected his wife to make a hot lunch for him every day before going off to work. I had one dude, I'm not kidding. I had one dude said he expects, he said these he expects sex twice a day from his wife every day. She's over there looking at me like, she's like, yeah,
what does he want, a machine? Right.
Dude,
he has nothing else to do.
It's physiologically, the body can't, I mean,
he doesn't have enough career goals. He has nothing else.
So I began to talk about if you remember the movie Hitch, and when Hitch is trying to teach the guy how to dance, and he says, "Look, this is you right here. Just stay right here. Don't do this. None of this.
Right.
Just
stay right in your box.
Stay right in your box." And so what I tell couples to do for the first 3 to 6 months of marriage, just focus on the biblical requirements. What are the biblical requirements? Husbands, love your wife as Christ. Just first 3 to 6 months, focus on loving your wife as Christ of the church. Wives, focus on learning, because submission does not come naturally. We're born rebellious. So you have to learn. You learn to submit. So focus on learn. So I go through all the stuff that the Bible talks about, what the role of the husband is, about 7 of them. And then, I always end, we have a good time. We laugh and joke about it. We always end with 1 Corinthians chapter 7, where it says, do not deprive yourself, and so I say, and screw like rabbits. So have a lot of sex. So if you focus on all, you should be.
We yet holding on, Pastor. We yet holding. Don't y'all listen? He's talking to the married people right now.
Now this is for the married people. This is for the married. Get it in as much as.
Yeah.
So if you focus on those things, I just go. It's a list that. Yeah. What does the Bible require? Now, all the other stuff is nice to have. Hot lunch every day. The Bible doesn't say that she has to make you a hot lunch every day. So just focus on what Scripture requires, and then from there, so you right here. Then once you got this, then you can add a little something. but you right here.
Right.
You right here. And so, I admonish young couples.
You got to write that book. You got to write that book, because that is so good. You know why? Because I see a whole lot of this and none of this.
Yes, you haven't learned.
You need to be going to work every day. You live with your mama.
Right. But you're trying to bring this in.
Over here,
So yeah.
Yes. Okay. So I'm laughing. I want to read some of these comments. That is so sweet. Rashad said, "Bro, and great job. Lisa, I love you. I'm so proud of you." Yes, she said, "I'm gonna submit and go watch the basketball game with the family." I love it.
That's right.
I love it. I hear you.
Love you.
Bye. Dr. Deb said, we were talking about the man who wanted his wife to have sex twice a day. And she said, and he wasn't functioning like that either, just foolishness.
Damn, you got crazy as a road lizard.
Lord have mercy, but it's the truth though. Amen. If you got to toot your own horn, chances are you ain't got nothing to do with it. Amen. So listen, I hear it says, can you give a word of encouragement to the single people? Now listen. One of the reasons why I really, really wanted to bring you guys on, and the way I choose my guests, I'm so very stealth. I will watch you for a while. How you honor her online, how she, kind of, does the thing. I'm seeing her at the dance thing, and I'm seeing her at this, and then I'm seeing you, and you're like, oh, we're at the montage today. I'm at the Bellagio having eggs Benedict again. You know what I mean?
So silly. Are you crazy?
And you know what's so and you know what's so funny about that is that, believe it or not, I am extroverted, but I am very opposite of that. So for me, I'm like anti-social media. Like the minute the Lord blesses me with an assistant, I'm walking away. Okay, I don't want to do it. You know what I mean? But the one thing I loved about your relationship was that there is a genuine love for God that is there, and you can tell when God is present and when God is not. And I was really, really enamored with the fact that you guys were able to love on each other the way you do, be in ministry, and still be real people. because I think we've gotten to this place in ministry where we feel like there's a necessity for us to put on airs or be someone else, right? I'm not saying that everybody deserves access to you. That's not what I'm saying.
Right.
But what I am saying, right, because you do have to protect your space. But what I am saying is, I think when we are disingenuous, we deprive people of the freedom that they deserve. And so I really was so honored that you guys would come on here and really share with the single people, with the married people, what they can expect. For those people wanting to be single, you will be surprised how many people, well, you probably wouldn't be, because after listening to some of the stuff you've heard a lot of stuff. Mm-hmm. But you will be surprised how many people walk into the marriage thing and they go, you know, I'm really focusing on legs and shoulders, right? I just need somebody in this bed with me and the Lord say it's all right. And there's so much more than that. Yeah. I know when I was in my 20s, you know, prioritizing dating, he had to be fine. And he had to have a couple of dollars.
Right.
And that was it, right? And then in my 30s, he had to be fine. He had to be tall. He had to have a couple of dollars and be sane. If he could just not be crazy. Right. That's how the bar, when you're in your 40s, all of a sudden, your purpose talks louder than anything else. Usually. And there are so many people. I can't tell you how many times I've interacted with people in ministry and you go, that's their spouse? When you hear what comes out of their mouth, when you see how they speak to the people they're supposed to be leading, you know, what was it saying? Hurt people hurt people. So you've got your leaders bleeding all over the congregation. You've got all this stuff, and so you go into marriage with these expectations that it's just going to look like, you know, everybody's going to be walking around here, Sarita and TD Jakes. You know what I mean? And they don't know what they went through to get to that place. So talk to my singles, give us a dose of reality. Let us know what we should be focusing on when it comes to selecting the right person. Because there are a lot of people that think that God's going to do it by telepathy with no contribution to them at all. I have friends that I tell, you know, the Lord's going to have to tell that man to break in your house in order to find you, because you're not going nowhere. You're not doing nothing, right? You're going to get robbed to get married, okay? You got to get robbed. Okay, so what I'm saying is come on outside, help the Lord out a little bit. You know what I mean? But give us a dose of reality. Let us know what's important that we're looking for, right? Tall is fine, and the money is fine. But if he's crazy, if he has no purpose, if he's going to choke your purpose, then that's not a union you need to be in. Give us some reality. Help us.
So I'll go first. Like I said, you know, I was young, but I was extremely shy. So my whole dating life was pathetic, just sad and pathetic. You know, I would go out with some guys just to go out with some guys, knowing that there's no way that was going to be. Oh, stop!
Oh, I didn't know you.
You didn't know I went out with guys?
So okay, you're about to see argument number 11 for.
Okay, let me tell you something. Because he was like, nobody existed before me. I want you to know.
You about to see 10 arguments, and you about to see argument number 11.
I went out with a few guys, but I knew that they were not anywhere near the one. It was just, you know, it just kind of happened that way. But when it came to, you know, choosing who, you know, I would marry, it's like I said, my bar was set very high and I was not willing to lower it. I know, you know, some people would look at me and say, well, you were so young and, you know, I'm older and, you know, time is ticking and I'm running out of time. And, you know, the temptation is to lower the bar. I think you need to keep the bar where it is.
Come on.
Yeah, you have to. I mean, and again, it's the essentials. It's what's the deal breaker.
Yeah.
You know, tall is nice, but that's not gonna sustain a marriage just because of what height he is. Even possibly what his career is. But again, I was looking for who I could submit to. And honestly, because I really went through a lot as far as, like I said, my dating life was pathetic and I was getting very frustrated.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's keep it even real.
Yeah.
Trying to live holy.
Come on, Jesus.
Trying to save myself. That's a whole other thing.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
Trying to keep that together and keep the bar where it is.
Absolutely.
Ultimately, it was as soon as I said to the Lord, you know what, let's just do a reality check. It's possible that maybe in your sovereign, he preaches on sovereignty all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You don't like it, but it's kind of is what it is.
Yeah.
In your sovereignty, if you choose not to send me someone, then, I need to come to terms with what am I going to do? And also goes back with, your identity. I'm a child of God,
yeah.
I'm his. And so if you so choose not to send me a husband, am I going to walk away, or am I just going to continue to live for you? And so it wasn't until I really pretty much verbally said, if you don't send me someone, I won't walk away. I'll continue to live for you. And then that's when Starbucks happened. But again, for those who are single, just because once because the other thing also is there's a history that goes back, generations of my family with divorce.
Yeah.
I had said before I even met him, divorce stops in our generation. I'm not doing that to my kids. I'm not doing that to myself.
Yeah.
And I'm not continuing that pattern in our family.
Absolutely.
So divorce is not an option. And so if that's the case, you have to get it right. So if you get it wrong and then you make that covenant and you're stuck, that's worse than being alone.
You are preaching right now. You hear me?
That's worse.
You are preaching.
So, yeah. So, that you just kind of have to, I don't know if that's helping anybody, but
no. I just, wow. And I something that I don't know if she forgot or what, but she had made that commitment that said, okay, and remember, this is at age 24, 25. So
right.
She's choosing to live holy. She saved herself till marriage, until marriage.
Yeah.
So she's like, if you're not going to send someone, then help me to be okay with that. And it wasn't just words, because then she began to live it out. Here's what I mean by that. She was already in the process about, getting ready to buy her first. She wasn't going to wait for a husband to buy her property. She wasn't going to wait for a husband to do certain things.
Right.
She was okay. This ain't happening right now. So let me get in let me start doing.
Absolutely.
And so when we met, she was in the process of starting to look, buy her first condo, buy her first piece of property. And we got together and we were able to do it together. But she had already started to live as if it might God until I'm not just going to sit still. I'm not going to sit on my laurels.
Absolutely.
I need to accomplish some things. Yeah. So when I met her, she was moving up in her career. She was working for Xerox, electrical engineer. She was flying to Rochester, New York every month because she was a part of this executive circle of up and coming engineers in Xerox. She was taking Romans and taking Romans as a class, had taken Hebrew, biblical Hebrew. So she was doing, to your point, living out her purpose as if it happens, cool, but I still have to live out my purpose. And so if I could tell, a single person anything here, it is, first of all, trust God. Yeah. Trust his sovereign will and purpose for your life. Live out your purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And not only live out your purpose, but also to have your essentials. Don't lower the bar, but be open to the non-essential areas where, it's a nice to have, but you know,
is it a must? Right.
So am I willing to be up here lonely and, you know, burning in my passions and all that sort of good stuff?
Right.
Because, he's got a few love handles on the side, but his heart's right, all that. I don't know. I don't know.
Girl, he got one eye and a kickstand, but he loved Jesus.
There's a scene. So do you remember the movie Jungle Fever?
Yes.
And so there's a movie when all the sisters are, Flipper that had his affair with the Caucasian woman, and all the sisters got together for a war council and blah, blah. But one sister said, there's some good men out there, but we've ignored them. They're the trash men. They're the but and she said, we've ignored them. That scene has stood out to me because I just wonder, and I don't know, and I'm talking from a male point of view, so don't be mad at me. Yeah, but I just wonder, right. I wonder how many good garbage men or postmen or guys who manage Stater Brothers who, but they're good men. They're gonna love you. They're gonna handle you well. I don't know. I just wonder how many. I don't know. Let me be quiet.
It happens.
Now y'all gonna start throwing daggers at me. But that scene has stood out.
I'm answering your question. It happens.
Oh, that's all. Let's end this. It's late. It's late. It's time for me to go. It's late.
Oh man.
Lord, oh my God.
Lord help her, Jesus. Like, pray now.
I had a post.
Pray right now. One thing, well, I want you to know that my brother-in-law works for the post office, right? So he was wonderful. And my sister said, I married a postman. I've been happy for 30 years.
I love it.
Yes. She said, I'm going for the neurosurgeon. But you know what? Let me tell you something now. Okay, we're going to say this and then we're going to end. But I want to say this. I hear that a lot. I hear it a lot. I had a list. I didn't have a list of who he had to be. I had a list of who he couldn't be. So it's like, I don't want a pastor. I don't want a musician. I don't want this. I don't want that. I had a,
I actually said that once. Once upon a time, I said, I'm not going to marry a pastor.
Yeah, I don't want a pastor.
I wanted the doctor.
Right. I didn't want anybody called by God to nothing because I felt like he would make me do something. And I wasn't ready to do what I was called to do. So I was like, so I ended up trying to marry as far away from purpose as possible and was, like you said, miserable. But I do hear women all the time. It's like, you know what? I've tried to look at somebody's heart. Because, I don't know if y'all know this. Y'all are in the pool right now, okay? But if you get out here with us, with the single people, you're going to realize that even ugly men is acting up now, okay? It ain't one of them situations. It ain't one of the situations where they're grateful somebody chose them, okay?
Right. Ugly. How you get crazy? You
need to be grateful the Lord was on your side, sir.
Come on.
Okay? No, we're not calling y'all ugly. The Lord sees your beauty, okay? The Lord created you are fearfully and wonderfully made in his image. But anyway. Yeah, so but I will say that I do hear that a lot, and I will admit that there was a season of my life, I can definitely see the difference in the men I was willing to date in the different seasons. I think as I matured, that changed, if that makes any sense. Because things that were important before are just not as important as they used to be. So I hope you all got something from this. Pastor Jody, Lady Keniya, you have no idea. Y'all are stuck with me for life. Thank you so much. Listen, y'all are laughing, but I got this. I will. Your members, okay? Your members. Look, I call Deb on Sunday mornings all the time. I'm like, what time is church starting? What time are we watching church? So I am so grateful for you guys. You make more of an impression than you even know without even knowing it. because we watch you in my house every Sunday. We watch you guys. So we love you guys so much. Thank you so much. She said, excuse me, Oprah. Let people know where they can find you, and then let people know the titles of your books and all of that good stuff.
Before I get into that, Lisa, first of all, thank you, but also congratulations on your new work, sister.
Thank you.
And I'm so excited for you.
Thank you.
I am Team Lisa on this.
Thank you.
You need to know whatever I can do to support.
I will be reaching out.
Please, no, absolutely.
I'm not kidding. To both of y'all. So just put me in the book.
You said accountability, and that was
sir.
the fact that you wanted that. So I honor you, my sister, and very, very grateful for you. So yeah, we're Transformation Church, City of Chino. You can reach us at www.transformationchurchie.com. You can catch us on YouTube right now at 10 o'clock every 10 o'clock Pacific time every Sunday. We just went back into the building. We're doing once a month for the next couple of months, just trying to get the flow back and test our safety COVID protocols and all that sort of good stuff. But it's a great church. We've been together 19 years. We were Praise Tabernacle for 18 years, and last year God gave us a new vision and some new direction, and so we changed the name of the church to Transformation Church and move in another direction. And so pray for us. We were moving very nicely towards the new vision. COVID happened, and so many things that we had planned by way of ministry and stuff we had to shut down temporarily. Actually, we're now launching a whole bunch of new stuff. Our small, we had to pivot. So we were building our small groups and Bible studies for the building, so now we have to change it all up. And so now I'm really excited about what's about to come. And so keep us in prayer. I wrote 2 books. My first book was God's Will is Greater Than Your Plan.
Yes.
It's a book based on the life of Jonah and running from your vocational call. This book was, I preached on Jonah. I spent almost a year preaching the Sermon on the Mount, and it was so dense and just deep and convicting, and I was worn out when I finished preaching that.
Yeah.
And so I said, I want to preach something just fun and light. I'm tired.
Yeah.
So I said, Jonah and the whale. It ain't a whale, it's a fish. But let's have some fun with Jonah. My God, that series on Jonah, it wore us out. God moved and spoke on identity, call, just so much revelation. And so the Lord told me to put it in a book after I preached it. And so that's the first book. And then The Man Who Mirrors God's Heart is a book about David, but not the life of David per se, but David and his relationship to Absalom and the mistakes of fatherhood. We always see David as a great king, great warrior. He's all that, great administrator. But David had some issues as a family man. He family was a little jacked up, and some of it was his fault, some of it wasn't his fault. But even the stuff that wasn't his fault, he did not handle in the right way. And so we expose it in the book. And we love on him, but we expose some of David's stuff in this book and how not to make some of the same mistakes as a father or as a parent as he made. So those are 2 books. You get them on Amazon. They're still there, and I think they'll bless you.
Awesome. And then you are running for?
I'm running for the school board, Chino Valley Unified School District. This is my second run. I ran 2 years ago, lost by about 1,000 votes, so came this close. I felt compelled and called to do it again. I think we'll go over the top this time. I sense God's hand is in it. I think our young people are going to face some stuff over the next couple of years, and I want to be a part of the decision-making body to bring a biblical worldview. But to also help govern in what has really become a dysfunctional board in our city. in our community. And so pray for me on that. And if you live out here in the Chino Valley, I'd love to have you vote on November 3rd.
Yes. Well, I have been trying to get, I think my sister, is my sister on? I told my sister, I was like, you have to watch Pastor Jody's service on Sunday. She's in Eastvale. I was like, you have to watch Pastor Jody on Sunday. So I always tell her, make sure you
Absolutely.
watch Pastor
Yeah,
Jody.
come on and watch.
So I want to say thank you to everyone who logged in tonight. That is a wrap. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you guys. Wasn't that an amazing conversation? I am so grateful that they were able to come through. Listen, we are here every single Friday, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. I want you to DM me for the Zoom code, or you can email at contact@lisadannielle.com, and we will give you access. Listen, this was an amazing conversation. I am so grateful that they shared their wisdom. And remember, I believe in you. Now it's time for you to believe in yourself. Don't forget to follow my social media. I'm on Instagram at Lisa Dannielle. And if you can, go over to my website, www.lisadannielle.com, and subscribe. I love you guys. Have a wonderful evening.